I'll start with the main event. Dan Rafael and Rob Tebbett. I normally see what scorecards they pull because I normally trust their judgment. They both gave it to Crawford, and Dan Rafael said you need to stop whining.
Yeah, I saw that. Dan Rafael can go himself.
The boxing community is in shambles after Terence Crawford's controversial win against Israel Madrimov. Boxing promoter Eddie Hearn shared his thoughts on Crawford's controversial win after the Madrimov-Crawford bout. He said that it's always a matter of taking down the champion, which is Israel Madrimov.
Incredible event, a great fight card, very close main event. Obviously, heard what I said. I would say as well, I didn't realise there was two 115, 113s, one 116, 112. I thought there was two 116, 112s. I thought Israel Madrimov did enough to edge it tonight. I know there's always the argument of dethroning the champion.
Hearn shockingly praised Israel Madrimov for competing against Terence Crawford with only 10 professional fights. Madrimov gave Terence Crawford a really hard time during the bout, which can make Terence's career difficult to progress. Eddie Hearn seemed alarmingly disappointed at one of the judges for giving Crawford marks for the last 4 rounds, which could have been in Israel's favor. The other 2 judges gave Crawford the last 3 rounds, which tipped the scales of destiny in Terence's favor, leaving Israel dumbfounded. Hearn distressingly stated that the scorecards could have been very different if the judges were not so unfair. Meanwhile, Israel Madrimov added to the discussion of the controversial win. He said that he has proved himself in the ring against the top pound-for-pound guys in the world like Crawford. Madrimov, with an overwhelming amount of confidence, claimed that this wasn't one of his hardest fights. Although Madrimov praised Crawford for his victory against many formidable adversaries in the past, including Spence, Crawford was not able to do to Israel what he had done to other opponents. Although Crawford won the fight by unanimous decision from the judges, Madrimov rocked Terence Crawford really badly. Israel claimed that he was in charge of the battle and that he never felt threatened by Crawford. According to Madrimov, he has a great deal of fighting experience and has shown that he can confront fighters like Crawford with real toughness. When the fight was over, Israel further stated that he felt really good and accomplished. Meanwhile, Israel Madrimov's coach Joel Diaz seemed extremely frustrated at the fight results. He said that throughout the whole fight, Madrimov was beating Crawford, but the decisions changed in the last rounds.
It bothers me and I'm irritated because we put in so much work.
Great game plan,
you know, we put in so much work into this, and we feel like we're disrespected, you know, because they don't value our work. I mean, we go to the gym 8 weeks, every fucking day, just to make things happen, you know, to give a great performance like tonight. Israel, from the beginning, he was frustrating Crawford and throwing the right hand. At times, he caught him with left hooks. And you will see Crawford's head all over the place, right?
Joel said that Crawford unleashed a few combinations towards the end of the rounds, but during the initial stages and the mid-stages, he was just using jabs and nothing else. Diaz further commented on Crawford's performance. He will close the rounds with like a couple of combinations. Does that give him the round? That's bullshit, man. Diaz further said that when he loses the fight, then he accepts the loss wholeheartedly, but when he loses to a controversial decision, then it takes him days to recover. Diaz was extremely furious at the whole marking system, saying that the scores are completely rigged. Joel was further asked if there was something different Israel could have done, to which he responded with an affirmation. He said that Israel should have fought a little differently because he wasn't just fighting Crawford's, he was also fighting the judges. Diaz distressingly commented that Madrimov didn't have to kill Crawford to get a draw. It was just common sense. Everyone should have known it was a draw. He said that the whole world thought the fight was super close, so if the fight is close, then at least give us a draw. To Joel, a draw is a win against the best fighter in the world like Crawford. Joel said that it was extremely unfair and it will take him time to recover from such a biased decision. Furthermore, Joel was asked how he views the fight in his perspective, to which he responded with agony. I had Israel winning at least 6 rounds, I mean no, 7 rounds at least, 7, 8 rounds, because some rounds were like close, and I was watching every time. Towards the end of the round, I said, okay, we won it. There were times in which I would tell them, hey, don't let him take the round from you, because he was accumulating punches from the beginning, you know? Joel worryingly stated that Israel landed many clean hits to Crawford, but towards the very end, Crawford only launched a few combinations, out of which only 1 or 2 landed, and that gave him the round. He said that if Israel and Crawford were to fight again, then the whole situation would change because these are 2 of the best fighters playing a chess match. Diaz complimented Israel for making the right moves in the ring just like a chess match, and he was in complete control from beginning to end. On the other hand, Eddie Hearn showered verbal abuse on Dan Rafael for marking the fight poorly. He said that this fight should have been a draw.
I'll start with the main event. Dan Rafael and Rob Tebbett. I normally see what scorecards they pull because I normally trust their judgment. They both gave it to Crawford, and Dan Rafael said you need to stop whining.
Yeah, I saw that. Dan Rafael can go himself. That's number 1. Number 2 is he scored it 115, 113. Right? No problem with that scorecard, by the way. But it's like when so many people thought Madrimov won as well, now maybe not as many as Crawford, but a lot of people, and a lot of people scored it a draw.
Hearn said that when a lot of judges have scored Madrimov's performance, a draw against other opponents, but why are things different when it's against Terence Crawford? Eddie Hearn seemed distressingly disappointed for not giving Madrimov the respect he deserved as a champion on the scorecards. He further said that Crawford's corner was extremely quiet, and at the very end Terence landed a few punches, which gave him the victory. Hearn elaborated his remarks on the biased decision and read Crawford's face after the fight. Even Terence Crawford knew it was a really close call, and it could have been a draw, but he dismissed Hearn's statement. Eddie further commented on Madrimov's performance by saying, "He could have done more. I feel like he left a little bit of gas in the tank, and I think that he is an experience. He's had 10 fights. But when you see the scorecards, it's like, oh, he could have done a little bit more, probably wouldn't really have even mattered, and that's what actually annoys me a little." On the contrary, former boxer Paulie Malignaggi had the same remarks as everyone else on the close call decision of Madrimov versus Crawford. He said that Crawford was spending his entire time at the edge of the ring because Madrimov's pressure was so aggressive.
Let's get into the main event. I thought it was a terrific position battle. Both guys fought a high-level chess match, high-level chess match. Early on, I thought Madrimov was actually doing well. I don't know what the commentators were watching when they were saying, "Oh, when is he going to make that move?" What do you mean when he's going to make that move? He's the one pressing the fight while Crawford was spending the entire first quarter of the fight on the perimeter of the ring.
Paulie seemed extremely impressed by Madrimov's performance and complimented his techniques and patience during the fight. Malignaggi said that the fight could have easily been a draw, but it is what it is with the judge's decision. He further said that the way Israel fought in the ring was impressive to the point that he gave the top pound-for-pound guys in the world huge trouble. Furthermore, Paulie seemed extremely worried at Crawford for making up to the 154-pound division and barely surviving a fight against an amateur with only 10 fights. He said that the main reason Crawford came up in weight class was to fight Canelo, but if he wasn't able to put the forward pressure on Madrimov, then how is he going to compete against the undisputed Mexican champion Canelo Alvarez? Malignaggi commented on Canelo's ability to put on a pressure throughout the whole fight. Although he doesn't throw a lot of punches, he remains in the face of his opponents the whole time. In addition, Paulie added to his remarks on what Canelo might do to Crawford if they fought. Against a guy like Crawford who's small, now you got a problem for Crawford, because it doesn't seem like he has the punching power to really deter the pressure of a guy like Madrimov, so how he would never deter the pressure of a guy like Canelo, so Canelo would get to him, even if Crawford is very, very, astute in the ring. Paulie alarmingly stated that Canelo's pressure would be even more than Madrimov's pressure, so Crawford is going to have a really tough time against him. Furthermore, CEO of Matchroom Frank Smith said the same thing with the decision being unfair for Madrimov and the marking criteria as a whole in boxing.
People always say to win the title you have to rip it off the champion. I don't think Bud did quite that. I mean, I had it a close fight. I probably could have gone either way, but the 116, 112 is always, then you look at the Miller Ruiz fight and stuff like that, Zizo Al Mayouf. Judging in California, not the best.
I don't think it's just California. I think judging across boxing needs to improve. You're talking about people's livelihoods, and it can change people's lives. A decision that maybe is not right, and something needs to be done. I'm not saying, again, I didn't watch.
Frank Smith said that Eddie Hearn was extremely pissed at marking the scorecards wrong. Smith further commented that people were writing Madrimov off as an easy fighter, but he showed the world what he can do. Frank was of the opinion that Israel is going to come back even better in the later fights after he gave Terence such trouble. Frank shockingly pointed out that something needs to be done about the scorecards that are just blatantly wrong, and Madrimov's scorecards was one of them. In addition, Smith pointed out that the same thing happened with Jarrell Miller. He could have easily won the fight with the way he was beating Andy, but the match was declared a draw. Who do you think deserves better marks in the fight? Let us know in the comment section below, and subscribe for more